What was that? Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. We kind of got muted there for a second because somebody's intro is playing on my show, and I'm going to kick somebody in the butt. Yeah, sorry. So they're not supposed to do that. Each show is supposed to take those off before the next show, so somebody's going to be in trouble for that. But anyway, everyone, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Authors Quill. We have a great show lined up for y'all today. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things. We have great author Robert J. Sawyer with us today, and we're going to turn him over, and Cameron's going to tell you a little bit about him before we get started. But I want to welcome everyone from the United States and Canada, and of course all of our friends on the other side of the globe over there in Europe and England. Well, you know, for England, it's early right now. It's only 10 o'clock, so y'all up early. Y'all actually get to listen to us early for a change. Usually when I'm on, it's midnight over there. So for all my friends on Sunday over in Australia, happy Sunday to y'all over there. I hope y'all are having a good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I know there's 4 time zones over there as well. For our friends in New Zealand, welcome. For all of our friends in China and Russia and the Asian continents, welcome to the show. Mark, what is that? No, we got a lot of Asian listeners. Yes. Well, right now I'm grouping Asia, but we have a lot of Chinese listeners, a lot of South Korean listeners. We even have some North Korea listeners. I think we've got 20 now that are in North Korea. Don't ask me how they're listening. I did hear this though. Somebody told me this little story the other day. One of the way women judge getting a husband in North Korea is if they have a cell phone, if they have leather shoes and long pants. I was like, you're kidding me, right? He said, no, I'm being serious. I'm like, really? I said, so apparently those people with the cell phones are listening to us. More than likely it's somebody in politics or something, because it's, you know, the fact that they're listening to us just shocks me to start off with. So anyway, I want to welcome everybody to the show, and I hope everybody's going to have a good evening listening to us today. And don't forget, following this show is the chat, but I'm going to turn y'all over to Carmen for just a second.
Okay. Yeah, today we have Robert J. Sawyer, who is a award-winning, best-selling author in science fiction, and he's also, how should I say it, Rob? Anointed as the Canadian Order.
The Order of Canada, the top honor given by my government, the only person ever to be admitted to it for science fiction writing. I'm very, very pleased about that, obviously. So, yeah.
Wow.
Gets put a couple of letters after my name, and get to swear in new Canadian citizens too. And we've had an uptick in late of people from the United States looking to come up here, and members of the Order of Canada can officiate at citizenship ceremonies. So I'm very proud to welcome anybody from anywhere in the world who wants to join us up here in the great northern part of the continent.
Wow, nice.
Nice. Beautiful country.
Yeah. Yeah, Rob is a Nebula winner and a Hugo winner. And let's see, the latest book is The Downloaded.
That's correct.
Right there. There
Right
it
there
is.
behind
And Rob is a Writers of the Future judge, too.
So. 20 years now. I'm very, very proud of it. The contest is, of course, 40 years old, so I only came in at about the halfway mark. But when I was invited to join, I looked at who were already the judges. And of course, they were some from a generation or even 2 generations before me, were the founding judges. And they were the heroes of my childhood, and my teenage years. Robert Silverberg and Larry Niven and Anne McCaffrey, who has passed away, of course, Theodore Sturgeon, who has passed away, Jerry Pornell passed away, sadly, Eric Flint passed away, so many of us,
rough.
Mike Resnick. So I have only been in there for 20 years, but so far I haven't passed away.
What is the contest? 40 it's 40 years old, right?
40 years
Yeah,
old.
we're in the 42nd year right now.
Yeah.
We're judging the 42nd year now. We just, I guess, launched the 41st anthology.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
is that right?
You're gonna lose a few people along the way, unfortunately. And as you get older, like us.
But what they've been very good about, it's 20 years since they invited me. Our most recent addition as a judge is he writes under the name Mark Leslie. Leslie's actually his middle name, so his full name is Mark Leslie Lefebvre. Fine Canadian, French Canadian name, and he is, just the guru of self-publishing. And when the contest started 40 years ago, self-publishing everybody called it vanity press. There was just no way that there was any respectability to it. Now, most
Right, it was practically unheard of at that point.
practically unheard of. I mean, if you did it, you were crazy because you'd end up with a garage full of your unsold books. There was no infrastructure to sell them. And now most of our judges have dipped their toes to one degree or another into self-publishing, in addition to what we do in the traditional publishing space. So those who think, a contest is 40 years old and it's got old judges, our current crop of judges are very much in touch with all the forces that have changed publishing so dramatically here in the 21st century. And we're delighted to be helping, mentor and bring forth the next generation of talent. I'm sure some of the people who are winning this year, next year, will be invited back 10, 20 years down the road to join us on the judging panel. And hopefully 20 years down the road, will still be among the living judges.
Well, I've been Larry Nevin's escort. It's he cracks me up, by the way. But how old is Larry now? He's getting up there. Larry Nevin, he's getting up there now.
Larry is 80. I want to say 84. I think that's right. But
he's still pretty good. He's still pretty chatty. I mean, the first year I tried to talk to him, he looked like me like I was crazy. He's like, "Who is this crazy guy?" The second year, they actually made me his escort for some reason. So I was walking around with him arm to arm all day long. And I forgot who it was. Said, "Joe, you make sure you don't get in any trouble." I'm like, "You putting him with me to make sure he doesn't get in trouble?" I'm not thinking that's a good idea. But he was a real nice guy. And he, I guess after that, he's gotten to know me a little bit. So when I do see him, he actually will talk to me.
This is the thing about Larry Niven. He's one of our judges.
Yeah, he's a real nice guy, too, by the way.
Very shy man. And, he used to, of course, collaborate with Jerry Pornell, who was the opposite of shy. Very gregarious and loud and theatrical. And it's taken Larry some time, I think, to be a little more, without being in Jerry's shadow. I don't mean in terms of talent or anything.
Yeah. Just
that Jerry was a big man. Larry is not. Jerry was a loud man. Larry isn't. But Larry is the nicest guy you'll ever want to meet.
Oh, yeah.
And so freaking intelligent.
I could see that. I could see that the 3 years I had him. Yeah.
Included, I would say, are all these wonderful people.
Yeah. We all got some great judges. I mean, there's a lot of great judges over there, a lot of good people. What gets me is how nice everybody is. John asked me one time, I said, "John, I would never be this patient. I could never do anything like this." All these people, I said, "Oh, no. I said, "It's not that I don't like to talk. It's just, they herd y'all up at lunchtime and dinner time. There's always a big crowd around y'all. I don't want to call it bar con, we'll call it lobby con, whatever you want to call it. I mean, there's always a bunch of people wanting information." And I always tell us the same thing when I see them. I said, "Look, people, y'all are shy or scared to talk to somebody. Tell me, and I'll introduce you to them." I said, "That's what they're here for." I said, "Believe it or not, they want to talk to y'all." And the one guy looked at me last year, "Are you serious? Why would he want to talk to me?" I said, "Because he wants to help you."
Yes.
Absolutely. Really? So,
it's the whole point of the contest. The whole point.
It is.
And it's, I entered the contest, the Writers of the Future contest, writersofthefuture.com. I entered the contest when I was starting out. So 20 years a judge, but 40 years a writer now. And in the 80s, I entered. I got 3 honorable mentions, which was, we didn't have silver and gold honorable mentions back then. And then what we call it is pro'd out. I sold too much to be able to enter the contest. But those 3 honorable mentions at the beginning really encouraged me. Way back in the day, the founding coordinating judge, we called him AJ, Algis J. Budrus, put some comments on the manuscript pages back in the day. We did this back and forth through the mail. Now, of course, it's all done electronically. But the advice he gave me helped me fix the story and sell it. And I did sell it to Amazing Stories magazine, a magazine that certainly L. Ron Hubbard was well familiar with, along with all the other Golden Age masters, a very venerable science fiction magazine. So we can't pay back. I can't pay back AJ or any of the other judges because they're dead, right? Yes. All I can do to settle that karmic debt is pay forward. And all of us judges, I think, have that same mindset. We're paying forward.
It's true. And I watch y'all do it. It's fabulous to watch y'all at work. It's somebody told me something a couple weeks ago, and I said, I said I'm honored because I get to watch these guys. I said I can't bug them. I said I can bug them sometimes, but not when class is going on. He said, well, how many classes have you sat through now? I said, it's been 7 groups. I said 6 years, but the first year was double because it was COVID, coming back from COVID. I said, so seven groups of class. I said, I've sat through a lot of them. And I said, I'll tell you this. I didn't even understand how to write anything. I said, the best I could do is maybe write like a documentary, something really boring and dry like that. I said, but listen to these people. I actually learned one of my hardest parts was always how to do the filler. I'm walking down the street. I never understood that. After listening to y'all, I actually do. So, I can actually probably write something, would never win, but I can actually write something now that's coherently that sounds better than anything else I could have done. So I actually appreciate it and then I watch how with all these people, and it's so interesting to see the classes go on, to watch the classes go on, to see all the different things that are taught. I mean, people, if they were to put this up for sale, y'all would be paying a lot of money to go to these classes. I'm just because of the judges alone, but when you go with the information and the judges, you're looking at a very, very expensive week. This would be for some people. So all I can tell you is, and I say this every week, and I told John just the other day, I said, if I got $1 for every time I mention writersofthefuture.com, I could retire. It's writersofthefuture.com. Okay.
Because you're mentioning, of course, it is a very expensive operation to put on.
It is.
This contest, unlike many of the other ones you'll find if you look on the internet, has no entry fee. Right.
It's
this
true.
contest is with a no entry fee, and our grand prize is $5,000, and we have some lesser prizes too. The winners and the second and third place runners up get flown in from wherever they come from across the globe to Los Angeles, to Hollywood. Yes. Hollywood Boulevard for our annual workshop. There is money being spent, but it's not coming out of the entrance pocket. And there are a lot of, got to be careful when you're beginning a writer, because there are a lot of scams out of there. There are a lot of people who for some reason think that beginning writers must be rich and be worth going after to get their money. They don't have any money, but nonetheless, there are all these things that are scams, that are unethical, that are not going to help you. Contests galore that you can pay an entry fee to, and almost everybody gets a prize. This is not like that. This is the top writers in science fiction and fantasy, the top artists in science fiction and fantasy, because we have a sister contest, Illustrators of the Future, that has a workshop in Los Angeles held concurrently with the Writers of the Future workshop. These are the top people, all of whom are paying forward. None of us are doing it for money. None of us are doing it for any other reason than we think it really is a great contest that has had 4 decades now of being the launch pad for the best and brightest new science fiction writers, and almost 4 decades of being the launch pad for the best and brightest new science fiction fantasy illustrators.
Yeah, so I tell people all the time. I mean, anytime I'm on lecture tours or doing anything else, I get somehow or another over the last 6 or 7 years, because I do a lot of lectures about other stuff. People always have to ask me now. I'm like, how do you know I do this? Oh, we looked you up. I'm like, and then of course I got stuff posted where I'm hanging out with y'all, taking pictures and stuff, and they're like, well. They always ask me about personalities. I said, I can't tell you that. They're like, what do you mean? I said, I cannot tell you about their personalities. You have to come and win to find out for yourself. They're like, well, Joe, that's just being wrong. I said, no, it's being right. I said, I had this one guy said, I'll pay you $10,000 if you film the whole thing. I said, and John would shoot. I said, actually, Emily would shoot me. I said, I don't have to worry about it.
Emily would not shoot you. Emily's a Canadian. She doesn't.
Yes. No, she's got that. She's got that pretty sword I brought a year before last. She'd stab me is what she'd do. I said, maybe I should have never brought her this sword. This might have been a bad idea. But I tell people all the time, I said, it doesn't work like that. If you want to know what goes on in those classes, you have to win. And I said,
you're absolutely right, Joe. But that said, we have a great free online forum at writersofthefuture.com. We have all sorts of videos. We have the most supportive, nurturing community you will find online of judges, yes, past winners, yes, but also people who've just entering the contest, want advice about this, want advice about that, maybe somebody to look over their manuscript, whatever. There's all kinds of resources that we do give away for free, broadly available, no cost. You don't have to subscribe, you don't have to do anything. Just go to writersofthefuture.com and join the discussion forum and look at the videos that have been put up.
Well,
Interviews with me, interviews with Kevin Anderson, with Nancy Kress, with Nadia Korapor, with the judges who have passed away. Their wisdom is only available to you.
Yeah, I know Orton's got cards on there as well. So people, you know, there's a course.
The online
there.
seminar is there too.
Yeah.
The online seminar.
That's right. We have an online seminars that you can work your way through.
And for you people who are in the middle of writing, there's an online course you can take. It's a fabulous course. I've taken it 3 times. I've gone through it now. I really understand most of it now, except it wants you to write a story at the end. I'm like, well, this is never going to happen. It's I know people, but if you're a writer, you can get in there and you're going to learn a lot. You might learn enough to polish off your story enough to get it into Writers of the Future. Remember, you can submit 4 times a year, ladies and gentlemen, not once, but 4. So it's no money involved. You don't have to give anybody money up. I know I've been to a few of them where, because I get asked to go to these from time to time, and most of them I've turned down over the years because let's just say they smell fishy. But when I got there, they were fishy. Yeah, other writers' places. Yeah. Well, I was telling John about just a couple months ago, actually. I was asked to go to one in New York, so I flew up. They, all expenses paid. Flew me to New York, set me up to a hotel, and it was a $400 fee for everybody to join. And then there was some other kind of fee, and you had to pay for your own hotel and your own way to get there. And I'm like, and I was talking to the guy who was running. I said, I got to go. I said, you know what? I said, do me a favor. Why don't you go ahead and let me leave now. He said, why? I said, because dude, if you keep me another day, I'm going to have to say something that you're not going to like. I said, so let me leave now and we'll just leave it at that. He's like, you're kidding. I said, look, unfortunately for me, I've done 2 others besides this. And then I was introduced to Writers of the Future. I said, now I judge everything by them. Well, that's not fair. I said, no, that's absolutely fair.
We're the gold standard, you bet.
And they definitely are the gold standard. I said, let me tell you something. I said, I put them through the ringer just like I put y'all through the ringer. I said, I gave John nothing for a whole year, nothing but trouble about this contest until he flew me out there with the double winning year. And I found out everything, and I mean everything he told me, from blind judging to everything else, was absolutely 100% true. And I said there was nothing that he told me over a course of a year that when I got to Los Angeles that wasn't true. And to be honest with you, Rob, I was stunned. I'm not used to that. Most of the time when I go to one of these, some of it's true, some of it's kind of been fudged, and so now, unfortunately, I judge all these contests by them. It's a hard standard to live up to, but look, you want to be a good contest, you need to live up to it or get out of the business. And again, ladies and gentlemen, you can submit 4 times a year. For authors, I've learned it takes between 10 and 14 submissions. That's about 3 years. Some people win sooner, some people don't. We've had one, was it 46 times? Preston Dennett, how many times was he? 44 times, 46 times? Yeah. It was a lot. It was a lot.
Another gentleman from Utah, too.
Yeah.
It was many, many years. It wasn't even quarters, just years. Yeah. They submitted, but he finally won.
Yeah, Preston.
But there's people that are first time. First time. So.
Dean, what do you mean pro'd out? No, when Rob said pro'd out, it's because he made too much money to be in the contest. Yes. Well, no, once you get to a certain point and making money, you can't, unfortunately, you can't. And why would you want to go? I mean, maybe you might be a judge in the future or something, but these guys are tough. I watch these judges. They're fair, they're honest, and they don't, when you ask a question, they give you a pointed answer. They don't give you a beat around the bush BS answer. They give you a pointed answer, and that's what you're there for. And I appreciate watching each and every one of them. Go ahead, Rob. I mean, cut you off, but
no, but you're exactly right. The answers are pointed, and we don't always agree. And this is the value of it. You can take a creative writing course at your local university, community college, from a specific professor. And sometimes, I've taught at the University of Toronto and other places. You get my view, and my view is, I think, absolutely right. But you ask Kevin J. Anderson, he'll say, now, wait a minute, Rob, or Dean Wesley Smith. Hold on a second,
Wesley Dean.
He's got a perspective, too. And the brilliant thing about Writers of the Future, our workshop in Los Angeles, is you will never find a higher level series of instructors all together at the same time. And so you get this smorgasbord of sometimes contradictory opinions. And what I always say is, that's fine. If what I say about a style of writing or a technique resonates with you, you take that and run with that. But if it doesn't work for you and what Nancy Kress is saying makes more sense to you, or Nydia Okorafor is saying makes more sense to you, follow what they say. But you're getting all these perspectives. This isn't trying to make everybody into the Rob Sawyer mold or the Kevin Anderson mold. It's trying to let you find your best voice and business strategy in this very competitive game here in the 21st century.
You know, that was one of the most surprising things to me when the first year I went there, because it was Dean Wesley Smith and Todd McCaffrey. And they were not. Yeah, I was laughing. I'm like, and I'm looking at John. Are they like not supposed to agree? And then I got to realizing what they were doing, because Todd has his own way of publishing and doing his stuff, and of course Dean, Mr. Publisher himself, has his own way. So I was listening, and I got to realize, oh no, they're giving y'all multiple ways to go here. People with this type of personality can follow Don. This can follow Dean. It worked out really well. And I noticed Dean likes to give a lot of financial information as well, and so they need all of that. I mean, when you're an author coming up, you need to know how your money works, what you should be, because people are asking him. I mean, these are first time writers. Should I file a corporation? And Dean looked at me, because we were having dinners at the barbecue, and I started laughing. And Dean's like, "Why are you laughing?" I said, "I'm not touching this. I'm a contractor and radio. I'm not touching it." Dean says, "Well, no, why would you do that?" He said, "Get a C Corp, man. You don't need all of this shit." So it was nice to see all of that. I mean,
it is, tangential to what we're talking about, but most of us have corporations. Robert Silverberg is Agberg, AG for Silverberg Inc., Agberg Inc. Kevin J. Anderson is Wordfire Inc. I'm sfwriter.com Inc. Yes, absolutely. There are tax advantages and there are personal liability advantages.
Yes,
that,
there are.
God forbid somebody goes after you for plagiarism or libel or something. They may not win, but they can only go after your corporation and so forth. So you learn that business stuff. But I also want to emphasize that we try to teach you the craft, how to do characters, motivation, mood, setting, dialogue, beautiful prose, research, all the things that go into the sausage. There's almost sometimes a little bit too much on the part of beginning writers concern about how do I market my book? How do I sell my book? Hold on there. Let's make sure you've got a book that's worth reading first. And we really try and make sure that people get, and of course, if they've won the contest or placed in the contest, they're obviously good writers. But we want to ramp them up and get them as fast as we can onto the bestseller list or onto the awards ballots, often two very different streams. The bestsellers don't often necessarily win the awards. The award winners don't often have the biggest sales. Depends what you're looking for. We nurture people no matter which path they want to go down.
You know what surprised me is how many of the 24-hour stories get sold.
Now this is an exercise where you're given 1 day to write a story, because so many new writers are of the opinion, I got no ideas, or if I get some free time, or if the conditions are just right, I'm in my comfy chair and the music is perfect in the background and the cat is on my lap, then I can. No, we say, okay, here it is. You don't have any ideas? Here, take this object, go talk to that person, come back in 24 hours and have a story. Astonishing exercise. Everybody who comes manages that. And as you said, Joe, a good quantity of those stories actually, they may polish them up afterwards, but actually do get professionally published. And it's a revelation for all these people who've thought that you need the right circumstances or a lot of time, or if you don't have an idea, you got to kind of beat your head against the wall. No, you can just get down and get to work. And if you're going to be a professional writer, not that there's anything wrong with being a hobbyist writer, but if you're going to make a living at it, you've got to be prolific. And this breaks through all sorts of barriers, this exercise that Tim Powers and Jody Linai, who run our workshop, do. I think Algis Budris originated the idea, but they're the ones who coordinate it now.
It's a great idea. I mean, it's when I heard of the first year, it's like, they want him to do what and what? And Tim Powers cracked me up. So it's when we were at the Roosevelt, he comes up, he goes, "Joe, you got a camera on you? I said, yeah, I got one with a long range lens. He said, he said, you see them all there? He said, get some pictures of their faces. And some of them, I got to say, some of those faces were priceless. I was like, and, talked to a couple of them along the line. And a couple of them were like, some of them just, they were done. And then a few of them were like, I wrote it, I tore it up, I wrote it, I tore it up. It's 3:00 in the morning, I wrote it again, I tore it up. It's 8, I got to get this damn finished. I just write the I'm laughing. He said, I said, no, I don't understand. I said, somebody told me to write a story in 24 hours. I'd be cracking up the whole entire time. But it is great to see. And it is great to see how they do it. And taking an object and a person, going out and doing an interview. And, for an author, that's a good thing to learn how to do interviews. You need to do that anyway. So you do certain things.
It's interesting. A number of us started, as nonfiction writers. Kevin was a technical writer at the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory. I was a journalist here in Canada, and also wrote, press releases and corporate brochures. So in those jobs, we often had to go and talk to people face to face. And characters are your subject matter in fiction. And meeting real characters, especially outside your comfort zone, in a city you've never been to, people who you don't personally know, and starting a conversation, which is something we ask people to do as part of their exercise in creating that 24-hour story, is enormously eye-opening for a writer to actually, this is a quirky character that I never would have dreamt up, but I'm intrigued by what the person is telling me.
Interesting. So Rob, do you try to work along a plot first, or work along a character line first?
So I am a thematic person. In fact, in the most recent anthology, Writers of the Future 41, the judges rotate through sequence writing nonfiction pieces. And I have a piece in it called Don't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Theme. I talk about starting at the top with something thematically to say, and then working out your plot and your character from that point afterwards. But I very much believe that you are better off as a writer if you plan in advance, what we call plotting, versus flying by the seat of your pants, which we call pantsing in the industry.
Right.
It's so much easier when the actual writing, if you plotted it out in advance. That said, I'm notoriously bad about doing that. I much more prefer to sit down and just see what materializes. But then you have this tendency to, that's a dead end. Only if I hadn't done this earlier, that would make sense now. It's way easier to craft the story, at least the skeleton, the broad strokes in advance, and then fill in the details, than to just kind of wander aimlessly with keyboard in hand.
Right. Is it like a third approach thematically?
It is. It's not much talked about. People talk about character or plot-driven fiction. I said, no. Thematically driven fiction. Talking about an issue. My favorite all-time science fiction movies came out in 1968. One of them is the original Planet of the Apes. That's what the original Planet of the Apes is about. It's about the fear of nuclear war, and it's about race relations. Every scene in the film, if metaphor and disguise, is about those issues. Wow. And then everything that came after that, best Twilight Zone episodes you look at are all thematic. The Star Trek episodes, especially from the classic series that we remember, are thematic ones. And so people don't often think about that, and they'd say, maybe down the road, some academic, some grad student or university professor will say, this was the theme of my work, and the writer is supposed to be oblivious. No. I think the writer should start out saying, here's what I want to talk about, and now how can I construct a story that lets me get to that thematic issue?
Oh, that's interesting. Wow. Cool. And
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I was going to say, one of the other things, just to digress here a bit, is the bundle that's being sold, and we only have like a day and a half of it left. But
is that all? My God.
Yeah. It ends on August 11th, which is
a day and a half from now.
Day and a half from now.
Yes.
And,
John sent me a link.
Rob has. Do you have a novel in it? Or
My novel Quantum Night, which is very apropos right now. It's about a U.S. president deciding that maybe annexing Canada would be an interesting idea. It came out in 2016 from Ace Science Fiction, but it's in the bundle along with works by Kevin J. Anderson and Nancy Kress, a bunch of our judges, a bunch of our recent winners. This is an ebook bundle, DRM free, which means there's no digital lock on them. You can put them on any devices you want. Very cheap to get all these books together. And where you go to get the bundle, well, put in Writers of the Future bundle in your Internet Explorer, there's my age, in your browser, and you will find it very quickly. And it's an absolute bargain, but I think we also have a giveaway.
Right.
Yes.
I think so.
You have the details?
I don't.
Oh, I do, because John emailed me that. I'm sure Joe has them too.
Okay.
Here.
Well, John sent me some links, but I can't get the damn links open. I wanted to see what they were because it says a bit of luck, death of a taxman, the high of a line. What? Oh, and that's just right as the future 40 right there. But for some reason, when I click them, it's not bringing me where it's supposed to. Maybe I have to subscribe. I don't know.
Yeah,
well, I think so. It says here we've got 5 epic ebook bundles to give away for today's show. So, John, Joe, you have to figure out how it is that we're giving them away to listeners. Do you have a call-in or a chat going on right now?
We got a couple of chats going on right now across, like 9 or 10 different chat rooms. So this is kind of weird. So you know what? Let me get where I'm at so I can see y'all again. Okay. So I guess what we'll do is, ladies and gentlemen, I guess we'll have to come up with some questions right quick. You can either email me or you can pop me up on Rumble, YouTube. Where else are we? Facebook. We're basically on all of these right now. If you're on Roku, people, I'm sorry. You'll have to come where you can actually get where you can have internet access. I know y'all Roku people love us, but you really can't do anything. You can't communicate. We don't have a chat room on Roku. That's not me. That's the Roku people. They don't have chat rooms, so you can't hate on me. It's real television. They don't usually have chat groups on real television. But look, so you can hit me at my email, which is iCarcox.net. You can catch us on our YouTube or our Rumble. Matter of fact, somebody just hit us up on our Rumble right now. What do you want? So damn, I keep losing myself. So these are the same 5. Do I have one? No, I don't. Damn it. I had one of these around here somewhere. So it's the 5 bundle set. These are beautiful sets. They were going for quite a bit last year, I believe. We gave away 4 of them last year on the thing. So what y'all going to do, you're going to have to get to me, and then we'll send the information to John, and John will send them out to you. I think that's how he wanted to do it anyway. And so if you're listening right now.
I've got the code. I'll send it to you, Joe, or you've got it in the email.
Yeah, okay.
Code, and it's good for them to download the bundle, as long as they only download it once, because they can be used 5 times.
Oh, okay, so we'll do it that way. Okay.
Question and see who's got an answer here.
So what's a good question? You know what? So wait a minute. I got it went right out of my head. Well, now I want to keep it.
Let me do one here. I talked about a great, unless you've got one, because we got to keep moving here.
Yeah, go ahead.
I talked about our judges. I talked about Larry Niven as being one of our judges, world famous for his collaborations with another of our judges who has sadly passed away. Who was Larry Niven most famously collaborating with? In The Mote in God's Eye is the most famous of their novels. Who was that he collaborated with? Anybody know that? We got
all right, come on, people.
Wonderful ebook bundle for you.
You can't run backwards. No, that's cheating. And I don't think you can run backwards right now until we stop anyway, so it's not going to help you. Oh, come on. I'll tell you what, I'll give y'all an easy one. You keep hearing us say Writers of the Future. Why don't you tell me who's the sponsor of Writers of the Future? Oh, I mean, come on, people. I mean,
that's a softball.
We got like the dumbest group on internet. Oh, wait, I shouldn't have said it like that.
You should not say that.
I apologize, people.
Your audience is wonderful.
Yeah,
beautiful, intelligent people.
The Still no one. Oh, come on. Y'all have heard me say this 100,000 times. You've heard John say this 100,000 times. Easy. I'll give you a first letter L. How's that?
Well,
oh, come on.
That's the first initial of the first name.
Yes. Sorry. It's
The
first
last
initial.
name starts with L. Starts with A.
Oh, Jenny. Oh, so Jenny. Okay, Jenny. L. Ron Hubbard. So you got it.
She's got it. So she's got a bundle.
Yeah. So no, I'll send you the code in a little while. I'm gonna get Rob to give it to me when we get clear of the audience in a minute, and then I'll get him to give it to. Oh wait, you know what? No, I can do it this way. We got a private chat on here. It's on the right side of the screen over there. Rob, you can put it in the private chat. Yeah, but just make sure we're in a private chat, not in the other one. Okay, look, y'all still haven't figured out the one from. He just talked about how robust the gentleman was and how he was talking and how they were friends. We are not paying attention. Let me look and see how many people are on right now. Come on, there's a lot of y'all online right now. Y'all can't figure this out. There's quite a few of y'all on Rumble.
Your question, because we we're running out of time. You're going to have
Lazarus, we're running out of time.
Great artist judge on shortly. So I said repeatedly in this interview where we hold our Writers of the Future annual event. And we used to hold it various places around the world, but for the last decade or more.
I wish I'd go back to hanging it at the.
In this city. What city do we hold it in?
Oh, Jenny, no, you can't. You already won. That's cheating. Oh wait, come on. Oh wait a minute now. All right, I got to reverse this. So, since so many of y'all hit me at one time, we're gonna redo this. Whoever's the fifth person to hit me with it, you'll get that thing. All right. Oh, Stephanie, boy, you must have some fast fingers. Stephanie Morrison. Wait, I know your name from somewhere. Okay, no, you'll get the code. Stephanie Morrison, yes. Los Angeles, yes. So a couple of them wrote in there, San Francisco. I don't know where y'all get. I don't even know if they've ever held it in San Francisco. John was teasing me this year, by the way, talking about going to Cape Canaveral. We
had a conversation. The judges actually rebelled.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Because most of us have been to the Cape.
Yes, I have too.
It's hot and sweaty and mosquito-ridden. When you try and organize it around a launch,
That's
you
tough.
end up often quite disappointed because the launch gets postponed,
canceled,
and the facilities are just so good that we have for teaching. We teach at the Author Services building on Hollywood Boulevard, and it's not the same in some Motel 6's function room.
So I'm gonna give y'all a really snowball question here. Who is my regular co-host? Come on, if y'all don't get this, I'm just gonna. I'm going to go get a whole new audience if y'all don't get this. I'll tell you this too. He has a show on, not just before this one, but before The Professional, which is Lazarus Chernick and Echo Chernick's show. They host The Professional on the network. So they're right before the show, but right before that one is Writers of the Future show. Now he hosts that one, and he co-hosts on this one. And if y'all don't know, I'm going to fire all of y'all. I'm telling you, I'm going to start firing audiences.
While your people try to come up with them, let me just say where you can find the bundle. So we're working with a wonderful small press named Arc Manor. That's ARC Manor, MANOR. Arc Manor Books. Put all that together as one word. arcmanorbooks.com/bundle. And you'll find the bundle if you want to buy it. We've got 2 days, 6 hours, 9 minutes, it says on the bundle page to go with this. And you get 18 books, 18 ebooks.
Oh, that's nice.
For $20, I think it is $25 US, 18 ebooks. One of the best bargains you're going to find today. I'm proud to be part of it. So go have a look at that. arcmanorbooks.com/bundle. Arc with a C. ARCMANOR books.com.
Jay, no, you can't win. You're on the network. You know him because you've co-hosted with him. So that's cheating, my friend. What do you mean? Can your wife win? No, your wife can't. What is with y'all today? What is this? Kareem, where are you located? I usually ask that. For some reason, I forgot. Where are you located at?
And Rob, the way it's set up, it's you can buy different size bundles. Is that correct?
That's right. We've got 2 tiers here. We get the basic bundle, and it's a fine bundle. The basic bundle gets you 6 books for $4, and it includes last year's Writers of the Future anthology, Death and the Taxman, by one of our recent winners who had a story that was a short version that won the contest. He's
that's
a long
David Hankins.
David Hankins. This
is the book they're talking about right here.
Yeah,
this is my autographed copy, so nobody's getting
that's the illustration by Sarah Morrison, which was
fabulous cover painting.
Fabulous. Yeah.
One of our winners. So for $4, you get those 5 books, but for $25, you get those 4 books plus a whole bunch of others for a total of 18. And then you get books by Nancy Kress, by me, Robert J. Sawyer, by Kevin J. Anderson, by Judge Jody Lynn Nye, by Judge Mark Leslie, by Judge Lazarus Chernak, and so on and so forth. So Eric James Stone, one of our winners, the year's best Canadian fantasy and science fiction volume 2. Why is that in there? Because the editor, Stephen Cotterwich, was the previous grand prize winner for us. Todd McCaffrey books.
Martha, it is John Goodwin. Yes, he's a good friend of mine. And yes, where are you, Martha?
Have you noticed, Joe? Have you noticed that Rob never fails to mention when there's a Canadian in the
That's
bunch?
right.
That could be. Well, I can't hate on him because, like I said, my manager is a Canadian. So, and she's we call her Elvira of Canada, but it's she's well, that woman had a strange story. She was a Coca-Cola girl when she was young. Then her dad died and left her an oil company, so she had to learn how to run an oil company. Then she sold it when she got into her 40s, and then she got into television and was, oh God, I can't tell you how many television shows, been on more than 100. And then she met me and became part of the network, and then I gave her the job as managing the station about 2 years ago, which she does I don't care where she goes. She can be from the moon. She does a fabulous job. And she's one of my favorite friends, and we're very close. And yes, she's a Canadian.
Speaking of which, I believe Lance Robinson has a story or a book in this also.
So wait, before we do that, Martha, where are you from?
From Thunder Bay, Ontario.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Lance's.
I'm just asking what these contestants were. Okay, Martha, you're from Utah, right? Okay. Well, why would I not know you'd know John's name in Utah? Jesus, the most sci-fi selling book place on a planet. It's they must sell. I don't know how many books they sell in Utah. There's some reading bunch of people down there. Every time I go down there, it's like the books are just going off the shelves as fast as you can get them. So I'm gonna give you one, not as easy, but oh, now I forgot the damn name of the movie.
Well, you know what? You should save some for when Lazarus is in the second hour.
Yes.
Give everything away in the first hour, you're going to lose your viewers, your listeners.
Oh, no, Lazarus is funny anyway. No, I hate when, getting old bites sometimes. It's my memory is not what it used to be. I was going to say Dune, but we're not talking about Dune. When is Dune 3 coming out? I don't know, Janine, when Dune 3 is coming out. I know there's a couple people working on it, so if I run it, we'll ask. But last I heard, there wasn't a date yet. I've seen 1 and 2, yeah. Well, 1 they debuted at Writers of the Future. What was it, 3 years ago? And then 2 I caught on television, which was a little different than I thought it was going to be. And we're just waiting to see what 3 is going to be. I'm a Dune fan, people. I'm also a near now sci-fi fan as well. Yes, I can't help it, people. I like near now sci-fi. It's a personal thing. How's that? It's everybody's got their sci-fi they like, and I like some sci-fi fantasy. I'm not the biggest fan of fantasy, but if it's really good, I'll like it. Like Harry Potter, stuff like that. The Lord of the Rings, things like Lord of the Rings got me through my military stuff in the Navy, through all my advanced electronics and avionics school. Thank God for those 3 books. And then somebody gave me The Hobbit, so I got it in reverse. But friend says, you got to read these books. They'll keep your mind sane. And he was right. It did. It helped me. It helped me to let loose. Because, man, when you're doing advanced avionics, advanced electronics, your brain is like, and, man, I'd read those books and it was a perfect escape. I don't get to read these guys.
I've never even considered myself a sci-fi or fantasy fan, but
just shoot him now, Rob. You got a gun on. Just shoot his ass. But
my mother was she was a Flash Gordon, and what was the old sci-fi stuff there? She was a fan of that, and she would take us to see 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which of course is Jules Verne. And we saw Fantastic Voyage, and we'd see The Wild Wild West is for actually a sci-fi western, and all this stuff. So Star Trek, all that, Star Wars, that was always a interest, Lord of the Rings. So
I want to know who's the author of Ender's Game. So if y'all know that, I will give you a book. I'll let y'all stew on that for a few minutes. Well, we only got Rob for a few more minutes before we got to bring Laz on, and so y'all might catch it at the.
Can we give him a hint on that?
Do what?
On the authors of the Ender's Game?
Yeah, well,
it's a guy.
It's a guy.
And he's a Writers of the Future judge.
Yeah, he is, and he's a nice guy. He's a lot of fun to talk to. Just don't get him on politics. He's a lot of fun. Him and I had hours long discussion. We went to do an interview one afternoon. It was going to be a half an hour interview. It ended up being almost 4 hours. I was like, well, I got to cut a lot of stuff out of this interview because you and I are going to get in trouble. He's like, well, I said, oh yeah, John will shoot me for sure. I said, so it was a good interview. It was a lot of fun. We crossed, 80 topics or more. We talked a lot about writing. We talked a lot about everything, actually. It was very, very good interviews. Very well-educated gentleman. What's one of the things I find about most of the authors, all of the authors, the judges, they all have a strong education. When you talk to them, even if you meander away from whatever we're talking about author-wise, they tend to be able to hold themselves on topics quite adequately, which is very nice because, sometimes when I'm on road traveling, I'm doing interviews. Sometimes I'll be talking to somebody, and after 15 minutes, they're just lost. They're out in the forest somewhere, in the woods or something. And I know a lot of authors that have nothing to do with Writers of the Future and all that, because I've been doing, sci-fi and all on this network for 33 years now. So there's quite a few of them I met over here, like Nick Redfern. He's he calls himself a 9-to-5 writer. He gets up in the morning, makes a cup of coffee, gets in his chair, 5 o'clock up, and that's it. 5 days a week. I think he's got 144 books to now.
Wow.
That's just how he writes. And then I got other friends that are writers, like Alfred Weber, who was the science director for Jimmy Carter. And he's put out a couple of books over the years. But with him, first book was politics. The rest of his books were all ufology stuff. So I don't know how you go from but
I wanted to ask Rob a question here. Rob, do you have anything that's I know you've had stuff before that's like been in the movie and TV realm. Do you have anything coming up that you can talk about that's
Yes, absolutely. The ABC TV series Flash Forward that ran in 2009-2010 was based on my Aurora Award-winning novel of the same name, Flash Forward. And we have all kinds of things in the works. And one of the reasons I said that I didn't want to go to Florida, but like staying in Hollywood, is we all do wheeling and dealing when we're in town. Right now, I'm
double duty.
Yes, that's right. I'm working with some very good people on trying to develop a TV adaptation of my novel Illegal Alien, which is a courtroom drama with an extraterrestrial defendant. So
that's gotta be great.
To get things going in Hollywood, but nothing ready to announce just yet. Kevin Anderson, one of our judges, is a producer on the Dune movies and TV series that are currently out there. Todd McCaffrey, of course, is the son of Anne McCaffrey, and he's always working on trying to get a movie version of the Dragon Riders of Pern developed. And you mentioned, we haven't said the name of our the answer to the contest yet, have we? The name that you're looking
No,
for?
they haven't said
There
it
was a
yet.
movie starring Ben Kingsley and Harrison Ford, based on the
wow.
novel by the same person that we're talking about here.
Yes.
So yeah, always things going on Hollywood-wise.
Wow.
No,
Cool.
no, y'all on hold until we switch over. No, because we have 2 more to give away. And I've seen a couple of right answers come up, so we'll probably do the same thing. We'll probably do it again on a how many numbers. We'll probably do 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 12 or something. But I love doing that. One day I did it. The first person that hits me at 100, my email was like, that was insane. I like anything that has aliens in it. It just, if it's got aliens in it, I'm on it. Well, matter of fact, last night, Harvard just put out this thing day before yesterday about Muamua, because Muamua is the first asteroid or whatever it is, interstellar object that come through the solar system and then turn around and come back. Nothing's ever done that before. Plus, it's bringing
Haven't heard
friends.
about that.
Yeah, but it's bringing friends with it. So Harvard scientist writes yesterday, he goes, well, I hope they're friendly. He said, because they look like they're headed this way. I was like,
It means the asteroid came back with other asteroids?
yeah, it came back and they can't explain how it turned around because it had already gone past the sun. So it should have kept on going. And nothing turns around like that. I mean, some things have orbits, but no. This thing just turned around. It went out and turned around and came back. As the other one's coming in, the third one that's coming in, this is the second one, or this is the first one coming back around. I'm like, okay, kind of even confusing me. I mean, I'm big into science and anything like that, and pretty decent astronomer. And I was kind of like, well, how did that happen? And when I'm listening to the big dogs, I'm listening to Hawaii Group yesterday. They're like, they can't, they don't even have a theory on how it did it. They're just like, it just turned around and came back. So I guess we'll wait and see. Hopefully, Harvard and them think it's alien. So hopefully, he said, actually, their quote was, well, they're either coming here to kill us or to love us. I guess we'll find out when they get here. It's like, no way, no Harvard scientist did not just say this. But it's and at first I thought he was kidding, but he's being serious. And
They're trying to say that they're like piloting an asteroid.
Yeah, they don't think it's an asteroid. They think that's just covering from.
Oh, I see.
And this thing has changed course and speed. Just things that asteroids don't do. It slowed down and sped up. It turns, and it's just done things we've never seen any type of asteroid or comet ever do before. So everybody's kind of at a loss. And now it doesn't have a tail, but it's got a lit up front. Everybody's kind of like, what the hell is going on here? And it's traveling at 124,000 miles an hour. It is cruising. So, yes, people, I'm a science geek. I can't help me. So why do you think I like these guys so much? Science fiction is right up my alley, because anything's got to do with science, aliens, and certain types of stories. I will tell you this, Gene, before we get ready to bring our next guest. I have read now 7 of the Writers of the Future's books. So it was all the way from, I think it was at 35 to where we are now, 41 or 34. Anyway, I have yet to find a story I didn't like. Now, don't get me wrong. I have some that I like better than others. But I have never found a story I didn't like in the group. Plus, I really like the way they organize the story. So in the very first time I read the first one, I thought, this must just be haphazardly, and they just threw it together. But since they had given me 2 books to read that year, when I read the second one, I realized, no, there's actually some thought to how these stories go together. And the illustrations are fabulous, people. The new books all have, let me show you right quick before we switch over. And we'll show you this again when Laz comes on, but come here, book. This is 41, by the way. This is last year's book. There it is right there, nice and pretty. Sailing along and pushing. And where is it at in the front up here somewhere? We're very close to the front. So, for each story, there's an illustration. And there's 12 of these illustrations in here. And so when you get the book, you also get the illustrations in color. No, you're talking about my reader's copy that I gave away. The reader's copy is a little bit different. It actually has them in both black and white and in color. But that was a personal reader's copy that John had gave me to read, before it goes. He sends me one. So anyway, get the book. I recommend getting the book. You'll enjoy the stories, and get it, buy a couple. That way you can give them to your family's members and your friends and stuff like that. What is that, Janine? Yeah, I'm going to give some away at Christmas, but don't wait till Christmas. I mean, it's only August, man. December's a few months away. Get you a book, hand it around in your family, let them read it. Get familiar with writers of the future.
Right, and just so that your listeners or viewers know, the way that book is compiled is there's the Writers and Illustrators of the Future contests, and the 12 writer winners and 12 illustrator winners are paired together, and the illustrator does an illustration for each story, does a story for the writer that they're paired with. So that's how you get 12 illustrations and 12 stories in there. And that's for, that was volume 41. That's L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future, volume 41. And that was released this year, April 22nd, I believe, of this year. So that had the winners for this 41st year of the contest.
There's some extra stuff in any of these books you get. There's always a little extra stuff in there. Some stories from here, the story that goes along with the cover. So
Right.
there's a few, a few other little things in there you're going to get to read, and it's enjoyable. It's a nice thing to sit and read. If you're a fast reader, well, you're going to go through it pretty quickly. Like my wife, oh, I'm done. I'm like, baby. She
Right.
reads like
Yeah. The cover illustration is by Craig Elliott, and he's one of the illustrators of the future judges. And Craig created that illustration for the cover, and then Sean Williams, one of the writers of the future judges, created a story for that illustration, kind of the reverse of the way it normally works. So have you had much opportunity to do that, Rob, where you're taking an illustration and creating a story out of that?
I haven't
Oh,
done
okay.
a lot of that. I know a lot of writers do like to do that. It hasn't been something that's come my way.
Just curious. Okay.
Yeah. But it goes to what we were talking about a little earlier. You don't need to wait for inspiration. Take anything. Somebody says to you, here's a cover. What's the story? Right? Your job is to do that. Absolutely. And back in the pulp magazine days, of course, which is where Hubbard was a mainstay.
Right.
Often, the editor will have bought the cover art with no story yet to go to it.
Wow.
The artist will come in with a portfolio. Here's all my great art. Oh, I'll buy that one and that one. Well, then the editor has to go, with John W. Campbell or whoever it was, go to the stable of authors and say, can you do a cover story for me? You get the cover story if you write it to this piece of art. So very venerable and well-regarded way of doing it. But it's after 6 years here. My man Laz is probably waiting in the wings, and I don't.
Well, I sent him my invite just a few minutes ago, so we'll wait for him. But if you got to get, man, I know you got a busy life, so
it's dinner time here in Toronto, my friend.
That's what I'm saying. No, look, I understand. You trust me. So today, for me, I got to host 2 shows on today. It's 6 hours of hosting I do today, so I got half an hour between this show and the next show. So I usually ask I just like, baby, just throw me some food on a plate and bring it inside you eat. Because we do a lot of hosting. We got a show called The Chat, which we invite everybody to. By the way, it's an open forum chat. It's just a general chat about any topics that the audience wants to talk about. They send us what they want to talk about, and we talk about it. And there can be anywhere from 3 to 7 hosts plus visitor and guests. So it ends up being quite a few people some days. It's a lot of fun. It's by far the largest show on the network, both in archive and in listeners. It's a new show. It's because it's insane, is what it is. Some of the hosts, I think, have ran their heads into walls and stuff. I'm not even sure what.
How many people do you have hosting it?
3 to 7. A regular
okay.
host. There's 3 to 7 regular hosts, and then there's a lot of guest hosts that just pop in. Friends of ours, other authors we know, they just stop by, and sometimes they'll come on for a little while just to chat, and or they'll come in with a topic or something they want to talk about, and we try to stay away. Mainly, we try to stay away from hard topics, like what's going on in the wars or Trump or things. We just try to stay away from that generally. It may come up once or twice, but really and truly, we do politics on Friday night. We don't need to do politics on Saturday night. So we just try to talk about whatever's going on, you know, some goofball doing something dumb. We have a, you know, I mean, the show goes out to 175 countries. So we like to try to branch out to other countries, you know, other things that go on in other countries. And they enjoy it. Well, there's Les. What's up, Les?
Hello, Les.
You're another good-looking person, man. We got some good-looking people up in here today. It's not like the other night. We had some scary people on the other night, but we got some good-looking in there.
There's my man Lazarus. So my turn.
Yes, we just let Rob go get his dinner, man. I hope you got something good.
To see you, my friend. Give my regards to Echo.
I will.
I'll handing over the reins of power to you now, my friend. Be well.
I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy.
You'll be great. You'll be great. All right, Armin, Joe, it's been a pleasure.
It's
yeah,
always a pleasure, Rob.
Great talking with you too, Rob.
Cheers. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Dun, 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 dun. Man, how you been doing? I only ever see you when you're on air. I'll pop in every now and then and see you.
Last couple of weeks have been a thing. A real thing.
A real thing.
Lost a car, lost a cat.
Oh my gosh.
We're moving. Got in 6,000 pounds of books I have to move around and now ship out as a Kickstarter.
Wow.
It's.
Are you staying in the Bellingham?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's all. Yeah, we're just staying. Yeah, we're staying here. Just changing apartments, moving around to make the family, better family situation and. And of course today I was like, I'll do the I'm gonna do Echo asked me to take over her podcast. Okay, that's great. And then yesterday you messed, let's do that one. I'm like, same time. And then I panicked. Echo got in late last night. I had to help her help the kids, do all these things. And then like half an hour ago I found out no, I had also promised to be on a podcast at 10:30 this morning. I spent 20 minutes begging forgiveness and falling on a sword over that.
Well, I do that every once in a while myself, man. I hate
You
that.
probably got some prep for WorldCon coming up here this week, right?
Yeah, and already got into an argument with one of my fellow panelists over email on that. Just
sometimes it's just the way the world rocks. Sometimes it's
yeah. I
feel for you. I loaned my car to my grandson. He blew the head on the engine, so it's sitting on me. I decided I still owe like $2,000 on the damn thing. I said, well, probably going to cost that more than that to get it fixed. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. I'm just going to sit there until I decide what I'm going to do with it. But other than that,
sometimes it costs more than the rental car to get
it does, Well, I did that one year. Something happened. It's the guy hit my truck and we were waiting on parts. He said, it's going to be like 3 months before you get all your parts. So I called the rental company up and they said, we can give you one for a month for like $800 a month. He said, oh no, you got the corporate agreement. We'll give it to you for $5. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. So give me it for 3 months. I didn't want to go buy a new car. I mean, my truck was being repaired, but it's life. Sometimes it just wants to be what. It's but how you been? Other than that, I mean, you getting any work? Getting some drawing done, some writing done?
So
those.
The last couple of weeks got nothing done except for just dealing with work. Like Echo left me alone for 2 weeks. So she took the kids and drove to Gen Con in Indianapolis. Wow. So I was home alone.
Gen Con is where?
That's in Indianapolis. It's
okay.
It's the largest gaming convention in North America. It basically was founded by the creators of D&D back in the late 70s. And it's still so it's like it's our biggest convention sales-wise. It's the most, for if you're not dealing with movies and comics, Gen Con and Dragon Con are the two biggest conventions for for people, pop culture people in the country. So
wow,
it's basically the epicenter of all geekdom and where we belong.
Yeah, no, I'm all for that because I can geek out myself pretty good.
And that's like Nate, you haven't even mentioned San Diego Comic-Con or
We didn't do
FanX
that.
and
We
Salt Lake
couldn't do
City.
that one. It's just
Oh,
every year it gets more expensive. Every year, like the sales don't really go up, and every year more and more people who are not in comics just drop out and just say it's not worth it.
Yeah,
You
I've heard
know,
that from some other people.
oh, okay.
when we were first there was a bunch of fantasy artists there, and there were a bunch of pinup artists there, and classic artists there, and then we were actually in an entire section of fantasy artists and other classic pinup artists. And then over time, like some people started to age out, the movies started to become more popular, and so the fandoms, the price started to rise. Fandoms started paying less and less attention to us, and it just became unviable after all these years. So
That's
Okay.
yeah, but you're not the only one I've heard say that. I heard a couple people talking
Oh,
about
no.
that this year.
I mean, it cost $10,000 to do.
Yeah,
Wow.
I know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So,
I know that.
and-
Yeah, those exhibitions are fairly expensive.
It
I
is,
have
but it's mostly San Diego itself.
Hmm.
Because it's like San Diego has they have a hotline for price gouging. If you call them up, I called them up once over the hotel got canceled our hotel room for $250 a night and sold it for $400 a night. So I called up the hotline and they said, "Oh wait, this is for Comic-Con? Never mind, nothing counts during Comic-Con."
why is that now?
Like, wait,
Oh my
what?
God.
Now I said, "I can't believe you even called," and they hung up on me. I was like,
Wow.
Comic-Con, the city will do whatever it wants,
Wow.
And
Yeah,
so
whatever makes you that money, you know that.
Right.
It's, but I
You
see
didn't-
Dragon Con instead
You
of
didn't,
going.
you
up
didn't
there.
know you were dealing
It
with
is.
people with a eye patch and a dagger in their teeth.
Well, Dragon Con goes up too, but Dragon Con's is a more dedicated show.
It is. It's
You
true.
know, that it's her fandom. It's adults. It's not trying to turn into a kiddie show.
Okay.
Reed is always trying to turn every single Comic-Con into a toy fair.
Okay.
And San Diego Comic-Con is not, but at the same time, just market-wise, a large portion of the tickets purchased, they limit the number of tickets purchased. A large number of the tickets purchased are made by people who own comic stores and toy stores around the country. And you'll see them. They'll buy 10, 20 tickets for
Wow.
people, and they'll all go in and they'll swarm the booths for the exclusives. They'll go in like the first hour. They'll have 20 people, and all of them will buy a one per person exclusive. They'll immediately go out onto the curb. The person who bought them all the tickets will then basically take all the product from them, wave goodbye, and then get into a cab or an Uber and take everything off to an airport to fly home. So those 20 people, those 20 tickets were not fans. They were just there as a scheme to get these, exclusive merchandise to fly to like the middle of Missouri or somewhere and sell them there or sell them online.
Yeah.
So it's like the people who are there, not everybody is there for the show. They're
That's. I mean, I've seen that happen with other stuff. I've always wondered why New Orleans doesn't put one on. I guess because there's so many other things going on down
there
here.
is one not that big, but I think another part of it is yeah, there are a couple down there. I don't know how big they are.
I've never really heard anything. It can't be that big. I mean, because there's a lot of stuff goes on in New Orleans. I mean,
Well, so Fan
That's the
Expo it runs one out of New Orleans, but Fan Expo is they're like Reed. They're another accounting place, and I don't know why they would even bother going down to New Orleans for that. Fan Expo and Reed, their sole purpose is they just want to support the movie industry. They're only
Okay.
Well, they do make a lot of movies out of New Orleans. Maybe that's why.
Well, their only existence, the only reason to exist is they want Warner Brothers and Sony and Disney to buy $100,000 worth of booths on their main floor.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And in order for them to do that, they have to convince the studios that they're going to get enough unique eyeballs to buy tickets to their movies. So in order to get unique eyeballs, they're targeting families. So they need to get as many.
If they're targeting families, New Orleans is a waste of time.
And the thing is that families like that, they don't have any money, and they don't go to a convention to wander around to spend money. They go there to meet this movie stars. So there's no reason for the artists to, or even most vendors to go unless they're supporting the movies.
Well, see, they do. They have what do they call it? Like just last week or a week before last, they opened up the entire quarter, and all the art galleries have their stuff out there, and then people coming in, setting up. Anybody can come, and anybody can set up. It doesn't matter. You can set up around Jackson Square and stuff like that. But I notice a lot of what goes on around Jackson Square is mostly portraits. I mean, it's $500 a portrait, but still, it's mostly portraits. And you can even see them go as high as $2,000 a portrait. But I've never understood. I can see you sketching a portrait out or painting in acrylic, but I don't understand how you paint a portrait of somebody in oil in 3 or 4 hours. I don't understand it. Oil takes time to dry. I'm confused.
It does, but there's also there are products that are fast. You can get products that help it dry. There's special media you can add to it that dry faster. There's special techniques. You paint thinner. I met Echo in a painting class that taught us how to do an entire oil painting in 3 hours.
That's cool. Wow. They do them down there. I mean, if you walk any day, if you walk along the front side of Jackson Square in front of the cathedral, there'll be 12 people out there, and they're all busy. I mean, they stay busy. And of course, they've got art, on the fences that they've done other stuff, schemes of the city, things like that, just random art. But they all sell good down there, but it's not like they do it often. I mean, the people in the front do it every day, but the artist thing, they only do once or twice a year where they open up the entire quarter, and you'll go in front of an art studio. And some of these studios are 80 years old, 100 years old. They've been there forever. God knows what kind of art they got back. That's where I found one of Larry Harris's pieces. He was doing Mardi Gras posters. I tell you what, though, lads, I've had a couple of friends get into the Mardi Gras posters. So Harris, when he first started doing it, he didn't make any money on this first. He did the angel and devil thing. There was a devil in the middle and a woman on each side. And anyway, he did the first one. Second one, he made a little money. The third one sold 14 million posters, and he got 60%. I think they were selling for $19.99 a poster. Nice. I mean, he racked up some money. And he did it for 10 years. And then I don't know who's doing it now, who doesn't do it. I think anybody can put in a poster, and then they just decide who's going to get it. But it's a lot of money involved in it.
It can be. It depends on who's.
It can be. That's the point.
Echo has done 3 Mardi Gras pieces.
Oh, wow.
She did. So the least impressive one she did was a simple poster for Miller Beer years ago. It's a simple It was just a poster that was handed out to bars around the area. But then she also did an entire Mardi Gras campaign for public supermarkets that were used in print campaigns and billboards and signs throughout the store, and that was pretty cool. But the one that is the most is the best story to it is everyone remembers Katrina.
Yeah.
Right.
And a lot of people don't remember that of course, locally, you're going to know this, that Mardi Gras was pretty much decimated and was, destroyed. And there was fear that it would never be brought back to the way it was, especially because it was privately held. It was privately run. It wasn't run by the actual city. It was...
it's Blaine Kern in there, boys.
Yeah, it was like it was almost like the Chamber of Commerce. There was a group of a group that was running it and managing it, and they had it funded. And so, in an effort to resurrect the city, and the city of New Orleans hired an ad agency to create a ad campaign to pitch national sponsors to come in and pay to run Mardi Gras. And the ad agency hired Echo to create the first ever legally official logo of Mardi Gras.
Oh wow, nice.
Now it didn't stick around. I mean, because the world changes. But yeah, it was the official logo. It was stamped onto all the marketing material, and it was used in all the presentations to basically go out and say, hey, Toyota North America, will you help pay to get Mardi Gras going? Like, hey, all these other companies, and their efforts were successful. They were able to get it back, and I don't know how it's run now, but that was how they were able to get it back.
It's kind of weird the way they do it. The Chamber's got like influence, but each Mardi Gras group kind of has its own influence. And then Blaine Kern, which makes like 90% of the floats, they have big influence on it. But they also have to pay a lot of money to do it, so that helps support it. The problem is they have to pay for all the overtime, all the police officers, everything. So, a lot of that comes from the parades. I mean, from the crews themselves. But then, they're also hoping all those people show up, because there's still a lot of money needs to be paid in. And it does make a lot of money for the city, but it's still not quite the same since Katrina. Well, mainly because New Orleans had 600,000 people, and now it's got 3. And back then, the surrounding area had about 2.5 million. Now it's got about 1 million. So all those people are going, and about another 2 million will show up from around the country, but that's not the size it used to be. So
yeah,
it's got a ways to go still. And but it's growing. But what's also happened is, I live on the coast now. Well, they put on their own Mardi Gras. Mobile used to be the capital of New Orleans, so they put on their own Mardi Gras. Capital of Louisiana, I'm sorry. And they put on their own Mardi Gras, and they put a pretty good one on as well. And now you see some of the other smaller towns doing it. Atlanta's trying to do it. And and between it, I had an interview with Mayor Brass last time I was in LA. And one of the things I asked her was, I said, look, I noticed New Orleans, Canada, and Atlanta is pretty much taking the movie industry over. What are y'all going to do? I mean, because when I was reading through it, I said, y'all are making less than 10% of movie and television shows around now. I said, isn't that your bread and butter? I mean, isn't this how LA survives? And she said, well, yes, and we're working on getting it back. I said, you never get it back from Atlanta, because Atlanta charges 1% tax, and all of their stuff in the city you can use for free, because they make so much money off of the people being there and coming there. And I was like, I don't know if you can ever beat that. New Orleans is a little more expensive. I think they charge about 6 or 7%, but still, and between the two cities, you pretty much have every environment you want, from mountains to golf. And then you got Canada, of course, who's got that big hologram thing up there for sci-fi and all. I mean, it's going to be tough in LA to beat all of that.
Well,
I mean, I don't want to.
That's the reason why I put the setting of my novel in Atlanta, because it would be cheaper to produce and turn it into a TV series or movie. I'm kidding.
But actually, hint.
A friend of mine's like, he goes, I want you to come be an extra with me. I said, dude, I want to stand out in the hot sun. He said, Joe, they pay $200 a day. I said, so? That I make more than that. He's like, but Joe, I said, dude, you come back when they're paying about $1,000 a day, I'll come hang out with you. He's like, but Dallas, I'm not going to. I mean, it's hot down here. I'm not going to stand out there all day. I mean, it's hot and it's wet. I tell people all the time, when you come down here, try not to come in midsummer. Come in the spring. If you come in the spring and fall, it's beautiful. I mean, it's 60s at night, high 70s in the daytime. It's a great place to be. You come in the summertime, you're like, oh Jesus, did I go to hell? I mean, it's just what it feels like. And we don't usually have a winter. Now this year, for some reason, we got 1.5 feet of snow, which everybody's still freaking out about. We usually get this much snow when it snows down here. I mean, Louisiana, New Orleans, it hardly snows at all. Atlanta gets a little bit more. But,
how long did that last before it melted?
oh,
30
not even a
seconds,
day. Yeah. But now this 1.5 feet lasted about 2 days, and no, everybody's like 1.5 feet. When I went outside, and I was like, "Geez, we got real snow. Where did this come from?"
So
but it only lasted a day and a half, maybe 2 days. It didn't last no longer than that.
So here in the Pacific Northwest, that we don't get a lot of snow on this side of the mountains, just because of the way the wind comes off of the ocean.
Yeah.
And but we do get some snowfall. But where we live around and all the tech companies, so they get people. They basically hire the most, basically the best computer programmers and computer architects from around the world, and they literally come from all over the world.
Wow.
They just want the best wherever they are, and they bring them there. And so you'll be living next to, you'll be in one house. You'll have an Irish family, another one you'll have someone from Sri Lanka, another one you'll have from from Pakistan, another one from Singapore, and they're all wonderful people. But if they came from a place where they've never seen snow before, to listen to them, to see the reactions of them in a grocery store when they're talking about 1/4 inch of snow is hysterical. Because one year there was going to be a quote unquote blizzard of like 1/2 inch of snow.
Oh boy.
Now, I'm from Wisconsin. Okay.
It's snowing.
I'm like,
it's
school didn't cancel unless it was 6 to 8 inches. Okay. So, and went there.
You would never use the word blizzard and 1/2 inches.
No, absolutely not. Went there. And when they show hurricane shells, they take photographs of all the things that have gone missing, like all the bottled water and all the Pampers and toilet paper. Every single time up here when there's a quote unquote blizzard, the first thing to go are the flour and the onions.
Okay, somebody's cooking.
It's like all the onions get bought. It's as if because a lot of Indian Ocean cuisine, those are their staples. That's like part of everything. So they just hoard it as if they're not going to be able to get anywhere else. They'll never see them again.
It's like we're going to stay inside and make onion rings.
Yeah, and they're they're going to be there for weeks. I'm thinking, this is how crazy it is. After it snowed, someone posted on one of the local Facebook community things that said, "So who's going to come by and pick up the snow off my driveway?" Like when they pick up the leaves, do we pick it up? Do we put them in bags for?
Oh Lord!
And everyone's like,
"Just shoot and be done with it."
It's gonna melt.
But I got a friend. She's a doctor, and she goes, "I'm moved to Seattle." I said, "Well, just make sure you move closer to the sound and not inland." I said, "If you move on the other side, you're gonna get snow. If you stay closer to the ocean, you're not gonna get much." So no, she didn't listen. She goes and move. Where did she move? Tacoma, I think. She goes, "Jesus Christ!" She goes, "Well, she ain't never seen snow either." She goes, "Joe, it was like 4 inches of snow."
No, she's fine in Tacoma.
I said, "Baby, I've been in some real snow before, and I said 4 inches is not real snow." I said, "I'm not sure even what that is." Like I said, down here we rarely get it. See, Atlanta gets some snow, but we rarely get any snow.
Oh, here's my favorite story, and I'm not belittling this woman in any shape or form. It was just I understand her fear and her ignorance, but it was doubled. So again, they were talking about 1/4 inch of snow. There was already a little bit of snow out there, and she was in front of me with 8 gallons of milk.
Oh, Lord.
In the grocery store. And I'm looking at, I'm like, okay, if there's going to be a snowstorm and it's going to be a problem with power, we'll be there. We'll be indoors for like 2-3 days. I mean, there's so little snow. There's no like snow plows around, but you'll be in there for 2-3 days and the snow is just going to melt. It's not going to be that big of a deal. She had 8 gallons of milk. And I asked her very politely, I said, "Wow, like, why are you getting all the milk?" She's like, "Well, if the power goes out, we'll need it." And I looked very carefully. I said, Now, understand, this is the Pacific Northwest. Okay, we are surrounded by mountains and forest everywhere. Like we have huge animal runs. We've got everything in. We're just outside of Seattle, but it is wild. And I said, but if the power goes out, your refrigerator isn't going to run either.
Right.
And she's, and she's like, oh, I didn't think of that. Well, I guess we'll just put it outside in the snow. It'll stay cool there. And I said, with the bears?
People just don't think. They just
And
don't.
she just stared at me and went, bears? I was like, yes, that they have bear alerts around here. We always talk about there's like these big signs, don't store food outside.
Yeah, because of bears.
Because there are bears.
One of our hosts
in my backyard like a year earlier.
Well, that's what I'm saying. One of our hosts, he's in northern New York, upstate New York. So when he's on air, and first you see this little squirrel eating some stuff. Then you see this raccoon, and out of nowhere, this black bear comes up and starts eating out of the cedar. And you can see him through the back door. Mike said, I got my gun right here, just in case he decides to come inside and visit. But he just ate the seeds and then went on about his way. But it was live on the air. It was kind of funny, kind of weird at the same time. Now we get black bear alerts, but where I am, we don't. We get maybe bobcats, stuff like that. But the black bear's a little further north than us.
We've got all of it. We've got, we had a cougar attack 2 years ago. We've got coyotes everywhere. We have black bears. We have a rare brown bear, but they're in the area. They've got national forests that they don't really come in too much. But the black bears, they just wander from yard to yard around here. It's,
they know they get food now. They're like, well, I'm going to go eat.
Do you have coyotes?
Oh yeah, tons of coyotes. Okay. People are constantly losing pets to the coyotes and eagles.
Yes, we got eagles ourselves.
People are like, they blame the coyotes for everything, but eagles are a lot more,
right?
A lot swifter.
Right.
It's kind of weird. I got a breeding pair of ospreys that 6 months out of the year stay in my pine tree behind my house. They fish in my bayou, and they got an eagle. He comes by every once. So he used to come land in the yard. I mean, eagles are big when they're full grown. Well, a friend of mine was over here with his King Corso, and it got loose. Well, Mr. Eagle said, I don't have nothing to do with this Corso. He left. He's never landed in the yard again. You'll see him, he'll fly over straight to the beach, but he's never landed in the yard since. He said, what the hell is this monster? He laughed. But you could still, you got to watch. The bobcats here, we don't have any coyotes anymore. They've all been killed off. But the bobcats you got to watch. They will eat your cat or they will eat your dog if they get a chance to. And I got Chihuahua, so they're about useless to defend themselves. It's and we got alligators too to boot. You got to watch because I got a boat ramp behind my house, so they'll come sun themselves on the boat ramp. Only though it's weird. So I'm only about 150 yards from the Gulf of Mexico. I'm sorry, people, Gulf of America. Before y'all write to me,
Gulf of Mexico.
Yes. See, he can say it because he doesn't live here. If I say it, I'm gonna get in trouble. It's anyway. The Gulf's right there. So usually it stays salty in here. It's a nice variety of saltwater fish in here and nice blue crabs. So you don't really see the gate as much. But when we get heavy rain, there's a river on top of the bayou where I live, and they'll push them in. And you'll see them here swimming around and doing stuff. And as long as the water's fresh, they'll stay around, go sunning and stuff. So, and my stupid dog would walk right up to it nose to nose. It's how dumb it is. I'm like, there was one laying out there one day, and she's barking her ass off. I'm thinking, yeah, keep barking. You're going to be lunched. And fortunately, the gator must have been fed because he wasn't even interested. He was just sleeping away. He wasn't even interested. So now I put a little board there. That didn't help. They just climb over the board. So I mean, it's part of living in the wilderness. And but I like it here. It's comfortable. It's nice. The Gulf's right there. The bayou's right here. You catch all you want in fish. It's just a nice place to live. Air is clean. The water's clean. It's not like live because I lived in the city for a long time, and frankly, don't get me wrong, I love New Orleans, but I don't want to live there. you keep that living there, shit. I mean, if you want to party, it's a great city. If you want to make money, it's a great city. If you're an artist, it's a great city. There's a lot of art goes through New Orleans, but
anyway, Joe, should we?
So somebody got Orson Cord right, by the way.
Okay.
So that was Darren.
We were
That's his name.
giving away bundles. That was one of the things, because one of your stories or one of your novels is in the bundle, right?
My novel, The True Dragon of Atlanta, is in the bundle with Robert J. Sawyer. It just makes me feel so good to say that. He's such a great guy, an incredible author, and
he's fun to talk to too.
Yeah, and out of all the authors from the Writers of the Future, that I think his is the author's career that I don't want to say a model after, but I think is going to be closer to what I end up doing. A few really high quality novels that the people really enjoy. I'm not going to be the author who writes 600 novels.
Thank God.
That I think I have about 12 to 20 in me, and as soon as I get out of this very particular time in my life where I have to focus so heavily on other things, I'll be able to finish the 2 books that are on my desk right now. Get those out.
So you're in the middle of 2 novels?
I have a horror novel that I have written 2 drafts on, and I had to set it aside, and then I have the sequel to The True Dragon of Atlanta. The True Dragon of Atlanta was originally written to be a standalone, but I got so much advice from people saying that audiences want a series. And I said, all right, well, I can't drag the story out to more than 1 novel, but the characters that survive can have another story. And so I have more stories for those characters going on, but not really an overarching plot. It's not like Lord of the Rings, in which you have to read all 3. It's
got it.
You'll want to, but you won't have to, because the story doesn't end until the end of book 3. And it's not going to have, it shouldn't have that problem with some of the series that people say they were never finished. Like, well, that this is not going to be that way. Whenever I'm done with them, I'm done with them. But I feel pretty good about it. Hi, John.
Hey, Laz.
Welcome, John.
We finally let him in. What's up, John, baby?
I just finished our first AMA, Ask Me Anything with Echo on writersofthefuture.com, which was great. So
Echo's my wife.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, so I sent you these links. Did that? Have we done any giveaways of these?
We've given away 4 books. Arthur Scott Card was the last answer. We got 1 more to give away. I haven't got I got to go see where I got the code out. I think Robert sent it to me, but I hadn't had a chance to check yet. So
I sent you the codes.
Oh, did you? Okay. So once the show's over, I'll make sure they all got them, and because I always ask them where they're at, where they're coming from. We still got 1 more to go. So we have 1 question. Now, Rob talked about Larry Nevins, and he was talking about his partner that was way more open than he was. I mean, he had just said it. We asked the audience. They were like, "Wah."
No, nobody answered that correctly. We were doing trivia questions.
Yes, we did. Well, we're going to give away stuff, and then I did one with L. Ron Hubbard. I said, "Who's the promoter? I mean, who sponsors the Writers of the Future contest?" So it was like cricket. And I said, "Well, look, I'll give you his first initial. It's L." And Rob's laughing. We're all laughing. It's still like, like Jesus. So then I had to say, no. I said, the guy. And no, wait, I even used you in one of them. And I said, y'all don't know who John. I said, finally, some girl goes, "Oh, that's John Goodwin. That's who it is." So we started being easier. Apparently, we had to get the Stupider or something. Oh man, it's been
right. Joe asked, who usually co-hosts with me?
Yes. Yeah, she only been a co-host in 2 years. I'm like, y'all don't know who? Then I said, no, he hosted another show before this one. I mean, 2 months before this one. But I was scared they were going to say Laz, and because they do the show before this one. It's I don't know. It's been a strange day. Is all I can tell you. But we got 4 giveaways now: Stephanie, Jenny, Martha, and Darren.
Right.
That's-
Just before you came on, John, we were talking to Laz about the story that's in the bundle, so that
Oh,
that we're
good.
promoting here. So
And then they know where to get the bundle.
Oh yeah, I think we got the.
Crickets?
I got the link. You sent me the link. I think I got the link.
yeah, Rob went into some great detail about that. Arkmanerbooks.com
There we go.
slash
Yeah.
bundle slash
Yeah.
bundle.
I mean, we're getting these giveaways, which is great, and they're going to get one of Laz's books for free. But we want a bunch more people to actually buy it. I'll take the cash.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is
We
a
were trying
great
to get
deal
cash
too.
out of them all
for
day
all
today.
that.
These people are tight,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
I'm
but it's a
saying,
great
look,
deal. All those books for that little money. It's like such a deal right now.
Mhm.
Yeah, take advantage of my stupid little noob thing of like giving books away for almost nothing. Take advantage of it.
hey, it's always good to get a good book, man, for almost
Yeah.
nothing. Ebooks are good too because people like to sit online and listen. It's matter of fact, I was listening to one before I got on the show today. I was listening to something else somebody had sent me. He said, "Oh, it's sci-fi." It turned out to be horror. I'm like, "Dude, I'm not big into horror." He's like, "Oh, well, I just wanted to get your opinion on it." I'm like, "Well, how you like this? It sucked. How you like that?" He said, "Joe, that's just cruel." I said, "Yeah, I told you don't send me horror books unless it's got a good title to it."
Yeah.
Something, because I'm not anti-horror, because some horror I like, but it just depends on what it is, how many people we're chopping up and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how people how things are categorized, because what used to be considered the classics of science fiction, there are people who would say they're not even science fiction anymore because they don't fit their modern definition of them. I
Yeah.
mean, to me, literature of all literature is drama. It's dramatic. It has ups and downs. It reaches in for all the different aspects of humanity to touch on it. It's and whether it's sci-fi, then it has there's science and technology involved in the plot. Fantasy, that there's some sort of alternate reality, otherworldliness part of the plot, but the story should always be about the people.
Yep.
Well, until I met you guys, I didn't even know I didn't even pay attention to categories of venue. I just, oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. What did I know? I was just a geek at heart. I didn't really care as long as it was good.
Yeah, that like you were saying there, Lazarus, that was one of the things that brought about science fiction's golden age, is when Street and Smith brought in a few authors, one of which was Hubbard, to add people to science fiction, because at that point it was just ray guns and robots and spaceships, but there weren't really people and stories about people. And if you can have people there and life and journeys and their story, then, and that's part of why Hubbard's stories are still, as beloved today, 70, 80 years later, because his people are so good, you can relate to them like, wow, and he doesn't put so much attention on the science, because science is always changing and evolving. Even somebody that tried to make a science from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it's been outdated, especially now with AI and with the supercomputers. It's like what can be done now compared to a few years ago is like radical difference. But because of story and people, it can keep on surviving.
One of the greatest sci-fi novels of all time ever written is Robert Heinlein's The Puppet Masters. First came out in 1953. You read that today, and it is just as relevant and mind-blowing and dramatic as anything that is on the screen. It's still unfilmable. They tried to make a bad film. They tried to make a film with Donald Sutherland about 20 years ago, and it was a disaster.
Oh.
But
yeah, I think I remember that.
It was
It's
just
true.
it was about people and a clash of cultures. It wasn't just, it was one of the first, if not the first, example of an alien parasitic race that was attacking people and manipulating them to do things that against their will or against the public good. But he gave the aliens a culture. He gave the people a culture. And that it was still a futurist, and it was a futuristic culture. It wasn't 1953 that it was set in. It was set in the future. And he introduced all of these concepts for, how humanity was, how he imagined or desired humanity might evolve socially, in contrast to the aliens. And it turned into this, it was you could make a film out of it. They tried to, that was just monsters. But as soon as you try and make it about monsters, then you strip it of
the actual story.
What it really was about.
Yeah. Well, that's like also on To the Stars, written in 1950 by Hubbard, one of his Heinlein's contemporaries. We were released that in the early 2000s, and it got a starred review from Publishers Weekly when we republished it. And then Entertainment Weekly did a review on it, and they gave it an A. And they said it's as gritty now as it was when it was first written in 1950, and that's because it was people driven. It's serious drama, and it was the first real novel about the time dilation theory and its impact. When the long voyage, they go out and they come back, and everything's changed, and they go back in the future, and their people are gone because of time dilation. So that was also amazing how some of the greats of what, like I said, is now the golden age of science fiction. They're the ones that actually, they're the shoulders that so many now are standing on, or, you see some of these stories like that one there. I think of the Night of the Living, I think of the Body Snatchers, the invasion of the Body Snatchers. That's like an offshoot of that, what you just said was Heinlein.
And I consider that the golden age is my DNA, that it's about their literature, Handmaid's Tale, their literature that just, and fantasy, Lord of the Rings is not just a fantasy novel. I mean, all these incredible, great classics of literature that happen to have genre elements to them. And that's what I like to write. That's what my short stories are like. That's what my novel is like, all my novels. And it's interesting, to say the least, to see all these and get all these recommendations from people in the publishing industry talking about how you have to write to market, and you have to make sure that your story fits into a certain length and has a certain number of characters, and we're going to follow this formula and that formula and this formula. And I'm thinking, and then they'll actually have some of them say, "Oh, I don't care what what those people did in the classics. I don't care what Herbert did or Hubbard or Heinlein." Well, lots of H's. I don't care how they did it. I want to know, this is how we do it now. And I'm thinking the only reason why those authors are considered absolute masters of craft is because they made that work.
Yeah.
And if you just say, I don't want to do that because it doesn't work now, well, then you're rejecting the multi-billion-dollar industry that was built off of those. And
it absolutely works now.
It absolutely works now. It just, but so many
it reaches people
are just, they're not evaluating. This happens to art all the time. They don't evaluate the content. They're not able to evaluate the content. So they have to evaluate like measurable criteria that they can fit on an accountant's ledger.
Yeah.
Years ago, I had a screenwriting course when I was at art school, and the gentleman who was teaching the course was, obviously a screenwriter and had sold several screens. And he was telling a story how after 1983, if a screenplay had exactly 116 pages, then when it went to auction, it was always automatically worth 4 times as much. At the time, the average screenplay was being sold for about $500,000. And if it was exactly 116 pages, it would be worth $2 million by default. And the teacher's telling us this, and we're getting ill, and he says, and the silliness of it is that the only reason that was the case was because E.T. was 116 pages long, and that the studio execs and marketing people determined that that meant that it was the absolute perfect length of film for exactly fitting in all of the proper beats and story points. And so they just gave it an arbitrary bonus of
Value
how
there.
much it was
Wow.
worth.
That's crazy. That's so crazy.
It is,
Exactly.
yeah.
It's so, anytime I mean, there are rules on how to write well, but there's not the same thing as, the rules to get published are very, very different criteria. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. No, it's true. But now it's with the indie publishing, self-publishing, you have a lot more latitude with what you can do, which is a double-edged sword there, because it's really easy to get out there, but it's also really easy to
Get
for
lost.
us as a consumer to get lost. You get lost in like a bunch of crap, because people with no editors, with no somebody going through and just make sure, so you end up something that's 120,000 words that should have been 45,000 words. It doesn't get properly trimmed, like what, and so
And then the criteria.
Yeah.
That all the websites, Amazon, these are not authors or writers or book enthusiasts that are inventing these criteria. These are programmers that are inventing them, and they're just, we'll use this criteria. There is one of the largest selling genres is urban fantasy.
Yep.
There is no urban fantasy genre to pick in Amazon when you upload to Kindle to sell. It's like, you cannot pick that. It's like, it's just not there.
Yeah.
So trying to fit a book into these different categories, and then they try and move it out. The True Dragon of Atlanta has been moved into comedy fantasy for some reason.
Comedy fantasy?
Yeah. If you look on Amazon, I submitted it as like contemporary fantasy, tried to do urban fantasy, and Amazon has shuffled it into comedy.
Wow.
I have no idea. I mean, yeah, it has some humorous aspects to it. There's, it's
Anything
fun.
that's dark has got to have some humor in it to be able to counterpoint it.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, okay, if you're going to call it a classic Greek comedy, I could say, okay, yeah, it could be argued to be that. But that's not what people think of anymore. Not what they're looking for.
No. Wow.
But I'm looking forward to hearing about the success of the bundle and how.
Well, it definitely picked up pretty good last week, and we're hoping this week it'll be going good in this show here, because of Joe's popularity. It's going to go off the roof now. We're going to get.
Actually, what I'll do is because we got another show coming up with a little bit bigger audience, I'll talk about it. I mean, I've already given away everything. I only got one left to give away, but I'll talk about it while we're in there. I'll give the website out where they can go and look at it.
Yeah, and you can give it away at the next show then.
And then that way they can because so definitely a different kind of audience than this is. And
I would have loved to have promoted the bundle at Worldcon this year. I'll be doing panels and attending and autographing books at Worldcon in Seattle next week. But the bundle will be over by then. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's how they run sometimes. But I mean, everybody who called in, I mean, everybody who wrote in was pretty interested in it, so that sounds good.
That's good.
That's always a good sign.
Yeah, did you put up the link somewhere, or so
I won't give them. I'll give them the link once we when I'm in between shows. I'll send the people who won the link along with the code to go get it, and then when I get into the other show, we'll put up the link. I got the link
Arcmanor.com
somewhere.
Bundle.
It's somewhere on one of these, yeah. I think it's right here.
arcmanor.com/bundle.
Yeah,
RCMANOR.
I just put it in the chat.
Oh, good.
This is. Let me see something right quick. La, da, 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 da. This is it right here, I believe. Dun dun dun. Ah, damn! This computer wants to be slow today. I was first thinking of
It's
garbage.
a really, really great mix of books. I mean,
Yeah.
18 books is a lot. but
Yes, 18 books is a lot.
you know, and I
Which is
was
awesome.
That right there's what we're talking about,
I've
ladies
read
and
pretty
gentlemen.
much all of them, so I can vouch for them. These are so cool.
and I'm impressed with the selection, with the variety. You know,
Yeah.
that it really is. You know, as I was saying, mine is urban fantasy, contemporary fantasy. Actually, it should be classified technically as magical realism, but there are people that haven't read the book saying, no, it can't be. I'm like, yes, it is.
So Ross
Anybody
wrote in and
that wants
asked.
to check it out, just go to the Rising Future podcast and search Lazarus, because we talked about that on the podcast when you released it. We talked about that book.
Ross says, "Is this for amateur readers or for real readers?" I don't know what that means, guys.
I don't
I'm just
understand that
reading the
either.
comment.
I
It's an
would. I
amateur
don't.
reader. Just somebody reads like a book a month. or
Not
something.
all 18 books are meant for teenagers. You know, I would not recommend my book for a teenager, but it's not like, you know, super advanced or
Okay.
but you know, they're going to have, you know, adult topics in.
Yeah. I mean, they're all either the worst. I mean, R-rated, but mostly they're PG-17 type thing.
Yes, because I can't see nothing over PG. I'm not that kind of person.
So
I'm only a
losing
PG
credibility
person.
by the second.
I'm just saying.
Well, it
I'm only
depends on what
PG
people are pointing out as, you know, as PG. I mean, everyone has a different criteria. I mean, you can have sexy talk and people freak out, you know, and then some people are okay with it.
Why godchild? So somebody the other day on a different show tells me, well, if you watch PG, you're not watching real movies. And I'm thinking, wait, what? I said, there's quite a few good movies that were just PG. I'm thinking, well, maybe I'm not hearing the guy right or something. And then it starts into a big chat, and they're like, oh yeah, that's right. If it's not like PG-13 or higher, it's not worth reading or watching. I'm like, okay.
Field of Dreams.
I was missing something in this conversation.
Or even Harry Potter is like almost most of the stuff that Disney does.
It's
so
PG.
they're like,
Yeah,
but
look,
Well, I mean, this is PG behind me. I mean, pretty much, and I liked all the stories. How did it get moved, by the way? You got them on your own.
What's that?
what, Lazarus?
nothing.
Oh shit! I'm not saying nothing. Oh man. Oh Lord.
You know,
Some
as a creative,
some
I
echo
don't
art.
like editing myself down from exploring the human condition, but some stories need it and some stories don't. You know, some stories, you know, fit into a specific context. Like, you don't need a nude scene in Field of Dreams. You know, there's the story is the story. But you know, some stories, you know, are exploring more than that, and you do need to know. You know, you do want to understand those things.
Yeah, one of the oddest things for me on that, just which didn't make sense at all, was what's the one where they were a meteor was coming to Earth and was going to kill it, was going to blow it up, and they had to send it out.
There are two movies at the same year that came out.
Armageddon.
was
Armageddon. And I was watching Armageddon, and then all of a sudden there was a gratuitous sex scene in there, or a naked scene where what's her face was his daughter was with
Liv Tyler.
Liv Tyler was there topless, and it's like, why? That was so not needed.
Liv was hot. That's why.
Well, no, it was like they decided that they had to make it an R movie for whatever audience they're going for. That was going to be better, so they injected that to be able to make it an R movie as comparative of PG-17. So it was just like, for me, it was like it did nothing for the movie at all. It was gratuitous, but they were doing it because they wanted to go for that R.
It was the Transformers reboot was probably the most disgusting example of gratuitous stuff I've ever seen. There was no reason in the entire plot to have so much swearing, cursing, and discussion and conversation about sexual bodily things when it's, you know, for that movie. It was literally, it was not a plot point. It was just, they just needed to make sure that they inserted, you know, as many not even well done, just gross sexual themes in there. Like the main, like Transformers 2, the main character's mother like talks about how big her son's junk has to be because he keeps like attracting all these pretty girls. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
There's no plot reason for this. There's no character growth for her. There's no character growth for him. There's no justification for it to be in the story at all, except that somebody just wants to have that R stamp on it.
Yeah, well, that's Hollywood's perverse mentality, and that's Hollywood paying the price now too.
Yeah,
That's
Hollywood's
true.
paying a price now. Yeah, well, that's also trying to attract that 13, 14, 15-year-old crowd.
I think, well, for the Transformers, it was trying to attract the college age crowd.
Well,
It
that's
really
true.
was. No, the people who've been who have been waiting, or the adults who've been waiting for Transformers to make a comeback because they, I'm going to say LCD Gen X. I'm Gen X. I'm allowed to say that.
Yeah. Anyway, so
The last of the
this is off
abused
on a higher
generation.
point then. So we do have these amazing bundle that you guys can get that I'm really hoping you take advantage of, because I read a lot, so I enjoy what I read, and I've read all these stories in here, or all these books, because pretty much everybody's been guests on the podcast, and they're just this really good science fiction and fantasy storytelling, and some of it is G, some of it's PG, some of it's R, but I like all the stories. They're all great stories. And you're guaranteed to find a bunch of stuff you're really going to enjoy reading. And it's going to introduce you to some authors that maybe you don't know about, that you're going to like, wow, which is the advantage of a bundle. You get to meet new authors that you're not familiar with. So while you say, well, I like reading Hubbard, or I like reading Sawyer, or I like, reading,
Black.
I like urban fantasy. So what's this thing now with Lazarus Chernik? So like he said, he writes urban fantasy. So I'm going to do that. I love Scott Card's urban fantasy. We'll check out Lazarus's urban fantasy.
I have no problems writing the coattails if I get introduced. If somebody,
That's the purpose of this.
enjoys the quality that's in this bundle, I am really proud and grateful to have been included with this, so that people will be introduced to me. The people who are interested in that level of quality will be are more likely to appreciate what I wrote, and I hope everyone enjoys it.
Yeah, and what's crazy,
Right,
I just went this morning about 2 cups of coffee. When I got up this morning, I went to get 2 cups of coffee. I could have paid for this bundle with what I paid for 2 cups of coffee.
Yeah, damn coffee's expensive.
It's crazy what I
Anyway.
spent, but I could have gotten this bundle. So like, people, it's so nothing, to get this, and you're going to discover, you're going to get, one, some amazing entertainment, but 2, you're going to meet some amazing authors that you're going to be able to go on later on. And it's just for the cup, if you don't have fancy coffee, maybe 3 cups of coffee, but it's still, that's all we're talking about. We're talking about 18 books that you're going to be able to get here. So it's just like, just check it out. It really is amazing.
No, I'll have the Geek Squad on me with the next show, so we'll get them to push it too.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a bunch of readers on the show coming up, and I was like, you don't read enough, Joe.
ArtManor.com/bundle.
Yeah, hear that, guys? Well, I'm gonna put the website up when we get over there too. It's floating around now on somewhere on these.
Joe, do you see it in the chat?
Yeah. Well, once it goes to the chat, it goes out to all of the chats. So it's
No,
going
I
out-
mean, it's in the private chat though.
Oh, is it? Okay, I'll get it. Hold on. Let me.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see who's in it. Orson Scott Card, Robert Sawyer, Kevin J. Anderson, Nancy Kress, Jody Lynn Nye. Is Larry Niven in it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's some compilations that include other authors.
Yeah, we got a book from Elmer
Mark-
Urban there as well, and we got Rise the Future.
Yeah.
Hello.
Mark Leslie, Todd McCaffrey,
Yep.
Sean Williams, Desmond Astaire. There's this guy, Lazarus Black,
Oh,
David
who's that guy? I'm
Hankins.
not sure.
Wow,
Storm-
Lazarus Black's in there. He's
Lazarus
amazing.
Black is in
I
there.
know, man. We gotta
You
go
should
check
buy
that
it.
book out.
You should buy it just because Lazarus Black has a story in there. So, Lance Robinson, Martin Shoemaker, Eric James Stone,
Martin's awesome.
Stephen Pantazis,
He's
Stephen
really cool. I'm really proud of him.
Kotowicz.
Yeah, Kotowicz, yeah.
And there you have it.
Yeah.
That's about all of them.
Well, that's a lot. And like I said, I've read all these books. They've all been guests on the podcast, and they're it's really good. And it's just one of those things I can just promise you, you're not going to be disappointed. You're going to discover somebody new that you didn't know that you're going to enjoy. And that's one of the great things I get about my podcast is I meet so many new authors, and I discover things I would not otherwise have been able to read had it not been for having to read a book to be able to do the podcast. So, and it's just all over the place. You got fantasy and science fiction, all different aspects of it. So, and the fact that we have this bundle going right now to be able to do that, it's a really good deal. And it's like I said, it's for the value of 2 fancy coffees or 3 regular coffees, you're in.
Years ago when I was a teenager, I didn't realize this, but I grew up in a part of the country that was a music test area. And once a month I would I would ride my bike or drive down to the local record store, and they sold compilation tapes of bands I've never heard of and people I've never heard of. And I would buy them and I would listen to them. And oh, that's pretty cool. And then the albums would come out, and I'd go and I'd pick and choose which albums that I want. And this is how I was introduced to Temple of the Dog and grunge 2 years before the rest of the country was. And this is how I heard the first songs from Guns N' Roses Civil War album. I remember buying that, and then 2 years later walking through my college dorm building, and hearing a bunch of people gathered around the radio as the announcer was saying, "And now the world premiere for Guns N' Roses Civil War," and I walked in and just sang along with it. And but it's one of those, the opportunity to, I don't want to say get on board early, but to have a way of introducing yourself to a wide variety of really great curated stuff is just cannot be overstated.
Yeah, if you're a reader of any sort, if you're a slow reader, good, then you've got yourself a lot of books. But there's some stuff that's easy to read, some stuff that's a little bit more involved, but it's guaranteed to be something that you're going to enjoy.
Yeah, and there's so little risk when you're dealing with so many. It's like if you 18 books, even if you only like a third of them, that's 6 new authors.
Yeah, exactly.
6 new books.
Yep. Anyway, so this is good. So hopefully we get ourselves some good final push on this thing here. But that's one of the good things then about the Authors Quill is that gives us an opportunity to really sell and promote and let people know what's out there. And so with your stuff, Lazarus, it's like hopefully it gives it another new swing that people can check it out and see. And then I missed Rob, but that he'll get more stuff going on his books. But then
Rob said we was keeping him from his dinner.
And have that. So, but then 16 other offers on top of you. So anyway, this is way cool.
Thank you. Oh, briefly, I can't stay for too much longer. It's been kind of over my
time.
time.
Over time.
We're past time now. We got to get out of here. But go ahead. I don't mean to cut you off. So
I just want to give having a chance to just give the rundown of my book, my novel, really quick. And it is The True Dragon of Atlanta by Lazarus Black. And when a 75-ton magical temple bell threatens to ring truth throughout the world, it is up to a young liar and her found family of misfit friends to stop it.
There we go.
And it's a labor of love, and I hope people enjoy it at least a little bit.
Sure they will. Guys. And I enjoyed it a lot, so this is great. Thank you very much, Lazarus.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Lazarus.
Bye.
Well, guys, I'm going to make these sites available for y'all so y'all can go check them out here in a minute. That way you can get your fingers on it. And then I got to go eat, and I got to get on another show in 16 minutes.
And you'll text me numbers?
I will in a little while, yes. I actually haven't pulled them yet, to be honest with you. I still haven't pulled last night. But I've actually been doing a lot of stuff. I've been feeling better lately, so I've been getting a lot of work done.
That's great.
Finally, my brain is not like, ooh.
That's great.
But tell them girls stop working you so hard, man. I'm gonna have to whoop up on them. I'm gonna have to whoop them, man. Tell them stop working you so hard.
Who?
All them girls, I know they working you hard, man. I know what's going on.
No, Emily's at the warehouse pulling stock for the Dragon Con.
Emily's always worked. She can't help herself.
She's up there. They're building pallets right now with all the books they're going to ship out to Dragon Con.
When she crosses over to the other side, you'll see a ghost in there pulling shit out. When she's gone, she won't be able to stop working. She can't help herself. Ladies and gentlemen, before you even ask, Emily Goodwin, that's who we're talking about, John's wife. Yes, I know her well, so I can talk about her if I want to. Besides, if she don't like it, she will tell me about it. Yeah. But guys and girls, I'm going to post these up so you can get these. Whoops. Oh, hey, Colleen. Yeah, what y'all doing over there? I had the wrong chat room. Hey, Heidi, didn't see you in there either. I'm going to post these websites up so they can find them. I'm going to post them on here so they go out to all of the websites at one time so we don't have to worry about them. And that way I can pull them when I'm on the next show and put them up there as well. I still got one bundle left to give. I'm going to give that one away when we get on the other show. I'm going to ask him who my guest co-host was tonight. Let's see how many it takes to get that answer right. I couldn't believe it took like 10 people before they even got John Goodwin. I was really? I host this every week. What are you talking about?
Like 2 answers for it. They can get
either one. I got all kind of answers.
I got 2 answers now for this time.
Yes, I got all kind of answers for John. I mean, people I didn't even know hosted with me before. I'm like, really? I hosted with them? That's news to me. What was it, John? I didn't mean to cut you off, boss.
Anyway, so I need to sign off here now, but I wanted to catch a little bit of it before it was over. So.
Yes, I got a couple things coming to you. You should be seeing a receipt in the morning, and then I'll get you the numbers for both shows probably within about 40 minutes.
Sounds great. Thank you very much, Joe, and we'll be in touch.
All right, be good, baby. All right, I'll get these links
Carmen.
double posted before I leave.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye-bye, y'all.
All right.
Carmen, looking sexy, baby.
Okay. See you, Joe.
Good, be good, Carmen. I'm gonna post these links before I leave, so I know where everything's at.
Okay, I'm gonna sign off.
All right, thanks again, Carmen.
All right. Yep. Talk to you later.
All right. Okay. Well, you can win some books. Tell me who my guest co-host was tonight. Now you can win some books. He just signed off just a second ago. You're coming over to chat, Heidi. You coming over to chat? I was glad to see Heidi. I didn't see her last night. I was lost. I didn't know where my Heidi was. I was all upset. Where the hell did the websites go? Oh, there it is. Comments. Jesus, I am losing what little brain I have left on the planet. Okay, this is. Okay, let's put this on. This goes into the comments. Okay, there's the comments. Okay. And then let me find out. Oh, people. My brain is not functioning the way it should be. Okay, come on. Okay. All right, I got all this set up, so I will see y'all on the next show. I'm getting something to eat. Actually, the boss lady brought me some food because I'm starving. So I'll see everybody in the chat in about 15 to 20 minutes. I'm sure Jay and them will already be starting it up. But guys, thanks for listening to the Authors Quill. Hope y'all enjoyed the show. We had pretty famous. I said Phil. He's a very famous author. Bob Sawyer was on in the first hour with us, and of course Carmen was hosting with us in the first hour, and then John joined the second hour, and Lazarus Black, who's another author. Both judges, by the way, of Writers of the Future. And John Goodwin is the president, and basically does all the work for Writers of the Future. Not by himself, I mean, but still, he's a big chief, and he's a guy who takes good care of me. So anyway, on that note, we got to go, and I'll see y'all at the chat, and I'll be there in about 20 minutes. I'm sure the boys will already be there before I get there. But until then, some fun, like some quick fun. I'll see y'all later, guys.
If you have a paranormal experience that you would like to discuss on the show, please email us at paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com. That's paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com.